Hello, and welcome to Trailblazer MTG. My name is Paul, or Prop, and in this video will be the round 3 match for the Trailblazer Asynchronous League for February 2026. First of all, I want to quickly go through the other decks that are 2-1, such as myself after my loss last week. We have Azorius Slash, which was my deck. We have the Green-White Idiots, which I played in week 1. There is a Scapeshift control list that actually unfortunately had to drop from the league due to scheduling conflicts for the remainder. We have Grixis Madness, Boros Blitz, Selesnya Counters, Gruul Dinosaurs, and our opponent for this week, which is Germed Lands. As for my deck, I decided not to make any changes. I did consider adding another Wrath to the deck, but decided I was fairly comfortable where things were balance-wise, and so have let it ride for this week at least. Now onto my opponent's deck. As you can see, this is Germed Lands, and I just want to quickly go through a few things in this deck. First up, there's a couple of highlights I want to mention. One of the new cards for the creature is Mutable Explorer. It's a 3-mana 1/1, but it generates a Mutavault token, which is, for anyone who knows Mutavault, it's one of the best creature lands in the format. For a single generic mana, you can make the land into a 2/2. So this little guy is very useful. That land is also a changeling, and therefore is pretty good in a lot of kindred strategies, although that's not what this deck is doing. Another one I want to mention, which is one of the biggest threats in the deck, the Rampaging Baloths. Yes, it's 6 mana, but I believe that this deck is designed to get to 6 mana fairly quickly, and any land beyond that creates a 4/4 beast creature token, which can put a lot of power on the board in a very short space of time. Couple of things that I noticed absent from here. We do not have Ravenous Excavator. We do have the Icicle Explorer, and Crucible is in the artifact list, but the Ravenous Excavator does not make the cut. And the other is Badgermole Cub. I think that's a very solid option that could have been included. I don't know my opponent's reason for not including it, but that was something I wanted to point out. Obviously, at sorcery, we have one of the big sorceries, which is Scapeshift. So, in general, when you think of Scapeshift, you think of a lands combo, and in Trailblazer, that would be a Field of the Dead. However, if we go down quickly and look at the lands, there is no Field of the Dead in this list, which is an interesting choice for a Scapeshift, a list that's running Scapeshift. We also see at both the instants and sorceries, we're seeing ramp, we're seeing obviously a decent removal suite, and then a lot of rebuy or reanimation options to return creatures and lands from graveyard and remove obviously threats. We see obviously Seer from Law and Eclipsed, as well as a few other items. And I think one of the biggest enablers of this strategy is spelunking. There's a lot of lands that come in tapped. We have the Evolving Wilds, we have Terramorphic Expanse, things like that. And spelunking allows those to be turns Evolving Wilds into a Prismatic Feaster. A very powerful card, especially when you're running a decent suite of basics. There's also a number of other tap lands that get much stronger with a spelunking. As you may be aware, week over week you are allowed to make changes to this list, and I did want to point out a couple of my opponent's changes that they submitted. These are known to everyone in terms of the additions. They have added the Traveling Chocobo at the creatures. They have also added Circuitous Root and Shared Roots, which are both ramp spells that will help them get more lands out of their deck. They added Fatal Push to the removal suite, and at the lands, they included Jagged Barrens, which is the ping land from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. So, one of my key focuses for this match. This is a synergy deck. They have a lot of ways to find lands, get more lands into play. They have creatures and permanents which care about lands entering, a lot of landfall across their creature suite. So I am looking to really hope they don't get off the ground. Try and prevent them from getting going. If I cannot prevent them from getting going, then I will be heavily reliant on finding a Wrath effect to clear the way for me to get into the game. There is a potential that they could get some very big threats out very quickly, and I need to be able to stop that. And with the rebuy effects, I also need to be thinking about ways to tax their graveyard and prevent them from recurring or returning those threats to play turn over turn. So that is my opponent for this week, and once we are back, we will be into the match. And now we're getting into the match. This is a new update, seeing the challenge screen for the first time today. So let's ready up and start the match. Okay, we lost the die roll. Ooh, Even Mind Sensor, probably a very good card to have in our opening hand. We have an early Essence Scatter, Spell Queller, and then Opt. I think based on this is a pretty strong keep. So I'm going to keep this. They'll lead on the island and Opt on their turn. Seems opponent went to 6. Okay. See what they do turn 2 before we opt. Okay, there's the demolition field. And the Caryatid. Okay, so they've ramped. Let's see what we have. Ang. I think Ang is pretty good. It's a good tempo play. Not sure what else we're looking for right now, other than maybe more draw spells. So I think I'm gonna take this. Okay. This is great. We now have the option to either counter a creature or a non-creature spell, depending on what opponent does. Oh, they are attacking. That is an interesting call with a mana dork. So potentially a 2-drop. Okay. I'm going to play the Field of Ruin, and I'm going to pass the turn. Thinking about what their plan is. Okay, they play a tap land. Are they going to attack again? Okay, they're attacking again. I think I'm going to hold. I have plenty of options. I will flash the Angin at end of turn if they don't do anything else. Yeah. We have the Fable Passage, but we don't have a need for a second colour of either, but so this is fine. And we are going to airbend this, make it cost a little extra. I'll play the Fable Passage and attack. If they replay the Caryatid, I think I let that resolve. I don't think that's a concern right now. We will see what else they may play. Opponent definitely thinking about their plan. Okay, I think we protect our creature here. We don't need to fetch. With this, we have the mana available. And we end the turn. Yeah, we don't need to rush here. We have plenty of permission in hand. We have plenty of ways to deal with what they're potentially doing. So we take it slow and we just chip away at them. Okay. Fauna Shaman. So if we Essence Scatter this, we can't Mind Sensor, but I don't think the Evolving Wilds is a particular concern for us. So I think, yeah, we counter this spell. It's too powerful to leave, and we do not really have a removal spell option. Opponent may be somewhat playing around the Mind Sensor. Obviously they can't know for sure that I have it in hand, but knowing that I have it in my deck, they do not want to get blown out. I think we leave this as is, we keep moving, keep going. Yep, I'm going to continue to check their life total. Would be nice to get some more lands, but we have the Consult the Star Charts if we need it. I'm going to Spell Queller this. This gets another creature on the board. I kill the Spell Queller, that is a 2-for-1, but I think I'm okay with that. Okay, great. We have the Polluted Delta. I am going to continue to attack. And yeah, I think we're in a reasonable position here. Yeah, I don't. That's a huge concern right now with only 2 cards in hand. That is, and we have the soft permission. Let's see what we end up with on top with the Meticulous Archive. Okay. If stock up and we hit a land. You know what? No, I think the safest option right now is to just hold station. I'm very in a commanding position here. I don't want to throw it away by overextending or tapping down low. Okay, they're surveilling. They have all the mana in the world, but we do have a counterspell, and if they... I actually don't know that I care about that either. End of turn I can, if they do nothing else, I can eddy. Well, they attacked. I think in this case I'm just going to flash this in. And attack for lethal. Okay. I think opponent had a slow hand, and we just had all of the permission counters and enough pressure to tempo them out. So let's see how we go into round 2. Now, this is an interesting choice. We have an initial counter, but we don't have much else. This is not coming down very early. We don't have any other draw spells. So I think this is a mulligan. I don't think this hand does enough, and if we do not draw into what we need, we are in real trouble. So I'm going to mulligan this hand. This is a much, much better hand. We have Meticulous Archive came back. We have the fast mana. I think we're going to keep this. The question is, do we put the Consider or the Stock Up back? I think, as good as the Stock Up is, I think I want the... actually, no. We're going to play the Meticulous Archive on 1. So we want the Legislator on 2. Very interesting that the land has Vigilance. I suppose it sequences well with Earthbending. We'll play the Archive. Yeah, I think that's a good one to keep on top. I know that obviously we're going to be behind a little time-wise in terms of playing lands. Okay, yeah, they have the Vine Lasher. This can be an issue, but we can Tidebinder it next turn. So we take a couple of damage from it, but nothing too significant. Okay, that is getting scattered. Oh, and the Mind Sensor came back. Perfect. Again, I think we hold because we can Tidebinder or Mind Sensor. Elvish Mystic is fine. I think I am going to mindset. This is an interesting call. They have mana. I think I want to hold on. We're not under a lot of threat here. They're stumbling on lands. Even if they're hitting it one more land, that will put them at 4. We don't have any counters for it. We do have a removal spell. I'm going to stock up here. Obviously want the island, although Is the Hall a better call? It's going to come in tapped. We don't have anything to do with it this turn, so probably. And in that case, do we want the Bellion to go to just have more mana? I think we do. I think I'm going to do that. Play the Hall of the Storm Giants. Next time we can Bellion hold up. Well, anything except Teferi and Ledger Shredder, so. Yeah, we're getting plinked away at here, but. Okay, so. I'm going to play this Bellion. And then we're going to pass the turn. We can Tidebinder or Fateful Absence. So they've gone to combat. I think in this case we are going to preserve life total and get rid of this Scythe Cat. They can obviously use a clue to get an extra draw, maybe hit a land, but I think that's perfectly fine. Okay, so we are at 5 lands. I am going to play Ledger Shredder and make Bellion a 3/3. And then we're going to attack with the Bellion because it untaps at end of turn. And that allows us to still have the Tidebinder or the Glenlendra Guardian. Okay. Feel rather sorry for opponent. Having a lands deck that is stumbling this hard on lands must be very frustrating. I think I'm actually going to flash this in and block, because even at this point, if they find an extra land, this can now block, take the Fine Lasher out. Okay. So I can play Teferi and still have 3 mana on my turn with the Polluted Delta. I'm actually just going to plus him. Okay, they finally hit the 3rd land. I mean, we missed a couple of land drops and we have 6 lands, 5 lands to their 3. This is a really unfortunate set of draws that opponents had. I am going to go fetch. I'm going to take the City Sewers so we can get an extra scry. extra surveil, sorry. Deluge. Yeah, I think that's good. If we need it, it can refill our hand. I'm going to play this on Welcome Sprite. And we're going to attack. The question is, do we potentially Tidebinder? No, I think we can hold the Tidebinder for something that's going to cause a bigger issue. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to get another island. That's fine to resolve. I'm actually going to do this now. I don't think we need the negate. Is the Spectral Adversary really what we need? I don't think it is. Let's see. Yeah, we're one land away from... It's not particularly the land I wanted. We have 9 cards, so I think we take the dig and the Riddler. I'm going to bounce the Reclaimer. I think at this point we just want to put pressure on. Opponent gets a turn, but I think we have enough answers for what they're doing. We have the Hornlock Whale for any attacks. We can dig, we can Tidebinder. Yeah, opponent's in a really rough spot. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna play this. They can sack the Reclaimer, but that's -5, -5. Ah, okay. No, that is -10, -10. I think that's okay. I forgot to plus Teferi. That's on me. However, if they do attack with the Reclaimer to try and whittle the Teferi down, I can Lockwhale it. I actually don't think I need to, because they're dead. I'm going to consult because I can. we'll have that in the pile. Yeah, I'll take it. I don't think I need. I think at this point they're tapped out. I just need to boot up the... Okay, we got the 2-0 victory. That was unfortunately not much of a game, especially in the second game. So, but yeah, we're now 2-1, and I will be back shortly with a little rundown of the game as a whole. And we're back at my deck after the match. So I think game 1 opponent was flooding a little, but we were fortunate that the interaction that I had in hand lined up really well with what they were trying to do. The Fauna Shaman, being able to stop their couple of removal spells, and having the counter for Lumra later in the game, which could very easily have got them back into it had it resolved, was huge. It was a slow and steady kind of game, you know, just chipping away at them with a couple of 2/2s and 2/3s in the air. But I think that was a good matchup and a good situation for my deck, and I was fortunate to have the right answers in hand at the right time, and had draw spells and card selection when I needed it for when they didn't have any action on their turn. I was able to make sure that I continued to have good options in my hand. And while I think the spell queller on the removal spell was maybe a little risky, because a follow-up removal spell for the queller would have been a bit of a blowout, I think all in all it was a fine play with the other cards I had in hand and the actions that my opponent had been taking over the previous turns. It was unlikely that they were going to have 2 removal spells in the same turn when they had been single spelling and had already tried to remove the Ang on a previous turn. And again, I had interaction in hand should I have needed to use it. Game 2, what can you say? In the previous round, I had a game 2 where I flooded incredibly hard. I only basically saw lands for the entire game, and it made for not much of a game of Magic. And in game 2, opponent had kind of the same issue in the opposite direction. They obviously kept a 2-land hand. Their deck is lands based, and they didn't really see a third land until the game was over. Could I have pushed a little harder and ended the game a little quicker? Yes, but I was just being cautious. When you're in the control position as a tempo deck, you have the luxury to go a little slow. And with opponent being so low on mana, so low on land count, I was fairly comfortable just chipping away at them until they were dead. So that's it for this round. I'm now 2-1. I will be going into the final week with a chance to go 3-1 and essentially finish in second place in the league. There are 2 3-0 decks currently, and they will be matching up in the final for whoever comes top of this Async League. But a win next week would put me into a joint second place, which I think would be an awesome first outing for this deck and for the channel. So look for that match next week. Until then, if you're enjoying this content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.